What's up guys, this is Wences. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about personal development for INFJs and how to create an epic life on your terms. Today we're talking about the INFJ lessons from the TV show Breaking Bad. How INFJs can break all the rules and fulfill their dreams. That does of course not mean that we have to do anything unethical or even illegal. How the character Walter White does in Breaking Bad. He turns from this law-abiding teacher into somebody who's willing to do illegal things, who's willing to go the extra mile, to cross boundaries, to do unethical things in order to protect his family, in order to make sure that they're taken care of in the long run. So of course, we're not gonna go that far. It is, after all, a TV show. It is for entertainment. But for us INFJs, I believe it's such an interesting metaphor because you see how he changes throughout the series. You see how he really taps into these parts of himself that he had there all along. The strength that is necessary, the willingness to go against what society expects of you. And for us INFJs, this is super important because through working with so many INFJs throughout the years, through my coaching, through the boot camp, what I have found is that for INFJs, it's necessary to break out of those rules that we have put there. The rules of playing by society standards, the rules that we have set up for ourselves, this little box of how we have to behave in order to be tolerated. When in the end, it's about breaking free of all of those things and becoming the biggest, best version of ourselves. For us INFJs, this does mean breaking the rules. For us INFJs, it means to actually do the things that we will be scared of. But I'm here to tell you it is doable. It is possible to do it on your terms, so that epic life that you always wanted is not only within reach, but it's something that you experience day after day. Before we go deeper into this topic, I want to remind you, if you want to take the next step in creating your INFJ epic life and you want my help in the process, then work with me privately or join the Epic Life Bootcamp waiting list. All the information you find below. In the TV show Breaking Bad, Walter White realizes that he has not much time left to live and he has to come up with a plan to provide for his family after he is gone. So he taps into this part of himself that is willing to do anything in order to make that happen. That leads him to tap into illegal endeavors, things that definitely go against our moral codes, but in a lot of ways, it is about that perseverance. It's about what he had inside of him all along. Because if we remove all of those aspects that make it illegal, unethical, what is actually happening? He was playing by the rules in order to make it by, in order to have an okay life. And it works. This is how 98% of all people go through life. And then he gets to this crossroad and he realizes, I cannot continue like this. My life, the way I've known it, is gone anyways. It's going to be over soon. So I better start tapping into what I carry within myself and make that happen. He taps into his alter ego Heisenberg and is able to create immense success and to reach heights he never thought were possible. I am completely convinced that each and every one of us can do the same. We don't have to do anything unethical. We don't have to do anything illegal in order to see that happen. When I went through the biggest transformation in my life, it was exactly that. When I teach my clients to do that, it's exactly that. So I'm here to tell you, if you have something that you want, and very often you don't even know exactly what it is, you just know, I don't feel completely alive. I'm not tapping into my potential. It's like I'm a fish outside of water. It's like life is happening outside of me and you want to be part of it. Then what it takes is to do something that will make you open for judgment. Something where you can fail. If you're playing by the rules, and this is something a lot of INFJs do, I know I did. And I want you to be really honest with yourself. This is not bashing. This is not putting anybody down. This is coming out of a very, very real place, because I know that all of us want to feel included. It is part of human nature. It is part of wanting to be part of a social group, and this is not something we first off can deny or something we should be ashamed of. And therefore, if we're going by a default state, we play by society's rules. And I mean society first off from your perspective, and second of all in your surrounding. My social circle was definitely different than yours is, and actually your neighbor 2 doors down, they too play by different rules. But it's the things that we have learned throughout our childhood, it's the things we learn through media, it's the things that we surround ourselves that keep us in this little defined space where we are being tolerated. And unless we're willing to admit to ourselves that subconsciously at least we're playing by this narrative, we cannot break out. Think of the TV show. In the beginning, Walter White plays by all the rules. He doesn't want to be too vocal, he doesn't want to say something so he stands out and can be judged. He doesn't want to do anything where he could fail, because with every single one of those steps, he would make it possible for others to tear him down, even if it was at a small scale. And isn't that something that we INFJs are confronted with all our lives? Because the truth is, different than other types, if we would really stand out, if we would really be seen for who we are, we're much more likely to be judged than the average person. Why is that? It's not that INFJs are so weird, it's because INFJs make up only 1% of society. That being said, most of the people will think differently than us. If you're, for example, a male ISTJ, which I believe is like the biggest group within the MBTI world, you're much more likely that if you voice what you want and who you are and what is important to you, you're much more likely to find people who co-sign that, who believe that. So our hurdles might be bigger, but at the same time, we have been used to all our life to knowing that we're different. We know that we probably like things that most other types do not. And I'm here to tell you, if you dare to let that be seen and you make that part of who you are, that becomes your world, that becomes the new filter that you live your life through, you will be golden. Meaning you won't feel anymore that life is happening outside of you. You won't feel like you're not in control or that something is missing or that you don't feel fully alive. If you do this, you will feel the intensity of life every single day. And because of that, you'll not only be able to create amazing experiences, but you're also much less likely to fall victim to relationships or situations which are toxic or unhealthy in any kind of capacity, because you yourself are already creating such a great life for yourself. So how do we turn that Walter White version of us into the Heisenberg version? How do we tap into the things that are within us all along, but that we haven't dared to tap into because there's still the alternative of the safe life? Remember, in the TV show, in the very beginning, you find out that he's going to die. That means his old life is over the way it was anyway. So he has nothing to lose. We are hopefully in a different position. We know that there's the alternative of living life how we've been living it today. So it's about time that we ask ourselves, am I willing to continue my life the way it has? And am I okay with it never changing? If the answer is no, then there's no reason to wait. You already know that you're never going to be satisfied with just cruising, with just living by others' expectations, that you're never going to be satisfied only living out the small version of yourself that doesn't cause any problems, that doesn't stick out so it can't be judged, it can't be knocked down, it can't be abandoned. On a psychological level, these are our biggest fears: abandonment, being different, and being an outcast. We need to be included. That's a psychological need. And you might say, well, I as an INFJ, I'm a loner, I can do my own thing. But on a psychological level, this is still true. Very often we pull ourselves out of social situations just so we're not in a situations where other people can reject us. Thankfully, we live in the 21st century, meaning we do have the internet. We can see other INFJs. We can see that we're not alone, that the way we think is not something that only applies to that one person. Just because we're a smaller group doesn't mean that our way of thinking is in any way flawed or worse than any other type. So that being said, it's on us to accept the fact that yes, it might be a little bit more challenging, but at the same time, we do have the capacity to face it because we've been living with this all our life and we're ready for the next step. So if you want to live that epic life, I encourage every one of you to do something which will make you be seen. And to be seen in such a way that you know the way I behave on the outside, in public, when I'm at work, when I'm talking to colleagues or friends or people at church or whatever it is the exact same way how I think when I'm by myself. It does not mean that you have to share your deepest fears or your deepest worries, but we all know the roles that we have been playing. And it's about time that we retire some of those roles. If you're willing to take that on, you will see that with every single step that you take, with every single revelation of yourself towards your environment, you will feel much more grounded and confident after the fact. Not while you're doing it. That will be hell of uncomfortable. But you know what? We can do uncomfortable things. We can do hard things if we know that this is the only way to go. We don't have to wait for something tragic to happen in our life before we say, my life is over anyway the way it was, now I can live out my truth. It's not necessary. Just ask yourself, am I willing to continue the way I have and never change? And if the answer is no, then now is the time to act. So how do we do that? Well, ask yourself, what is the thing I'm most afraid people will find out about me? What am I keeping hidden? May it be that you're actually really cold inside. May it be that you're really strong and that once you show that strength, you will not be able to rely on others anymore. Is it that you believe in certain things that other people might find are too harsh? Or is it something completely different? There's no such thing as this is the right thing or this is the wrong thing, but you know what these things are. And you may not be able to grasp all of them, but some of them you will be able to. And it's not about saying, oh, people are gonna like that new version of me. It's about saying it's going to be okay when people won't. Because it's not a question of if, but when. Because believe me, every single time you reveal one more layer of yourself, two things will happen. First of all, it won't be perfect. There will be a huge discrepancy between who you think you are in your vision and how it will show up in real life. So let's say you know you're a great artist and you have all of these ideas and this imagination. If you've never drawn before and you start drawing a painting, in the beginning it won't look good and it definitely won't represent everything that you have imagined. So it's not about creating a piece of art and people saying, oh, this is amazing. It's about deciding that I'm not going to base my self-confidence on the fact if people are going to like this painting. I'm going to base my self-confidence on the fact that I will continue to improve myself, that I will step out, that I will dare to live that life. Because it's not about being able to create that perfect painting, not even after you've painted 100 paintings, but it's about becoming somebody who fights for him or herself, who fights for a life that is better, who fights for a life that is complete, that allows you to tap into who you really are. And if you do that, if that is what you're aiming for, then your painting will become better and better by time anyway. And this goes for absolutely everything that you do. If it is that you want to share your opinions, if it is that you want to share your passion for something, if it is that you just want to share your determination. In the beginning, it's about it's going to suck and I'm going to do it anyway. And not about it will be good, people will like it. And you telling yourself this story over and over again when deep down the fear comes up that people are going to judge you, that people are going to see that you're imperfect, that then people will reject or abandon you. So once you approach that situation, yes, people will reject me. Yes, it won't be good enough. Yes, it will suck. But I will do it anyways because I'm willing to take on the next step. I'm willing to face failure. I'm willing to grow from that situation. You will find a strength in yourself. Just like Walter White was able to tap into that strength within him in order to create this Heisenberg figure and all that that entails. It doesn't happen overnight, but it will happen if you're willing to take on that step, if you're willing to fail over and over again, if you're willing to be judged, if you're willing to suck at what you're doing, and if you know that that's just part of the process. And the great thing about it is what scares you today won't scare you tomorrow. If you're willing to put out something, even if it was just part of who you are, your character, showing up differently when it comes to your friends, once you do that, once you face this possibility of being rejected and you stay with this uncomfortable feeling, you don't run from it, you know that it's just a feeling and this feeling will pass. Once you've done that, it can't hurt you anymore. It's gone. You know, oh, okay, I still survive. I found my new ground. I found my new balance. And from here, I can take on the next step. Every next step will scare you, but it's on us to find a balance of doing things over and over again that get us out of our comfort zone, but that don't overwhelm us. It is part of the process, and specifically we as INFJs have the unique quality of creating our own image of how the world is, of how we see ourselves without that external feedback. So tap into that strength. Tap into knowing that you're going to be fine even if people don't like it, because you're never going to be everybody's tea. And the only way to never fail is to never dare anything. And if you do that, you fail by default. So in the end, we don't have another choice. And you have to make that jump. You have to dare to do that step, because there's beauty on the other side of it. You grow from it, you become a bigger, better version of yourself, and you yourself define what that next step is. Don't ever think that a step is too small. It is never too small. It's always about taking one little step, and these steps, they accumulate over time, and before you know it, you've created this amazing version of yourself who's able to do 10 times more than that old version of yourself. And on top of that, it's a representation of who you really are. More authentic connections will happen. Life becomes easier because we stop playing by rules that are not in our best interest. Guys, you got this. Tap into that strength of yours. Turn that Walter White part of you into the Heisenberg part of you. Again, a little disclaimer, we're not talking about doing anything illegal or unethical. It's about that strength. It's about doing the thing that's out of the ordinary. It's about creating amazing results for your life, and you have everything you need in order to make that happen. I want to remind you again, if you want my help in this process, then work with me privately or join the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp. All the information you find below. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video on INFJ Phoenix Rising from the Ashes. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I'll talk to you next time.